Morning, Steve Free in Chicago with the morning grain comments. Markets, grains are just slightly lower overnight. We're seeing stocks trying to rebound from the recent losses, and crude oil is also a little bit higher after the recent sell-off. In the grains, I think number one, USDA did drop corn and soybean crop ratings overnight like expected. So your best crops are Kentucky, Missouri, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and South Dakota. And your lowest rated crops are in Iowa, Ohio, and Michigan. We saw that a little over 20% of the corn crop is mature, and a little over 20% of the soybean crop is dropping leaves. And you can see most of the soybeans around northern Illinois is turning yellow. So harvest is just around the corner. Markets expect a very choppy trade as we go into Friday's USDA report. And I think that report is going to be significant. If the government comes out with a number below the average trade guess, we could trade higher and maybe test $10 beans and maybe get a little bit closer to $4 corn. If the USDA confirms the average trade guess, or maybe a little bit higher than the average trade guess, we could put a top in the market going into harvest. So pretty critical time when the funds are pretty much long everything. They have a big long in soybeans and soybean oil. They've turned long corn and wheat, and they're long soybean meal. So this is the first time that we've seen them long in quite a while. And so will they carry that long into harvest? That's a big question as far as money flow. And we've seen money flow out of the stock market, and we've seen money flow out of the energy markets because concern about, in the stock market, earnings, and concern about demand in the crude oil. Lower demand in energy, especially here in the United States, could mean lower biofuel demand. So we're also kind of watching weather. There was some freezes up in Canada, cold temperatures below 30 degrees in parts of eastern North Dakota and northwest Minnesota. Canada could have some quality concerns for their crops that aren't mature. But in U.S., I think it'd be limited damage because of the freeze. The 6 to 10 day calls for cool temps and dry and mostly dry weather in the Midwest with the southeast wet. And the 8 to 14 day brings temperatures back close to normal, still dry in the west and still wet in the southeast. As far as global weather is concerned, it's dry in Europe, it's dry in the Black Sea, and it's dry in Argentina. So we'll have to see if La Nina is going to keep Argentina dry. And the Ukraine ag minister told farmers there not to plant their winter crops until they get a rain. And there could be some rain around later in the month of September, maybe early October for some of the dry areas in Europe and the Black Sea, but right now it's too dry to plant. So we'll chop around. We'll see what the government says on Friday. Also on Friday, USDA will be putting out the FSA acreage numbers. They came out well below trade expectations because they just hadn't got all the data in. So we'll see if the numbers are a little bit closer to what the USDA is counting as planted corn and soybean acres this year. As always, these are my thoughts, not those of ADM Investor Services. Have a safe and profitable trading day. And remember, changing tomorrow starts today.